Welcome to the Gainz, where we talk about all things health and fitness. I'm your host, Leah Messenger. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm here with Thoren Bradley. He came down from Northern California to be on the Gainz. So, how was your drive?
Well, I'll be honest. I've been sort of holed up for a longer period of time than I really have ever in my life. So basically, at the come down from this sort of shutdown and how everything's been, I've been so removed from just the typical flow and routine and traveling and going to do these fun little like side trips and vacations. I just said, screw it. I'm going to stay home for a long time and do my thing. I live in a really rural environment, so it's crazy, like super easy to just separate from, I don't want to say society because that sounds a little bit dramatic, but like,
Christopher
but I mean, it's far out. Like I live really rural. So we're talking like maybe an hour and 15 minutes from the nearest actual city or large. I mean, that's a significant part of your day. So I've been sort of removed a little bit. So anyway, getting back to the drive, it's about 7.5 hours ish to get here. Mm-hmm. We're deep like south of LA. So obviously it takes a little longer just to get through the valley there. But it's been so long that I'm telling you, like just driving to the hotel last night, getting through just traffic and getting through the freeways and then jumping off the ramp and stuff, like my processing of even driving and just absorbing outside information from like that fast of like a rate of just trying to soak up all the like just stimulus that comes from the city. Yeah. It's scary. Like it's straight scary to drive. Yeah. Because everything's just been so mellow and chill and removed. Like I don't have traffic. I have a highway close by, but that's about it. Yeah. And it's a different world. It's a different world
to LA.
Yeah.
And the LA traffic is like
crazy. And I mean
insane.
California is an underrated state because I think a lot of people just think LA, San Francisco, San Diego. That's what California is. It's beaches, big cities. Yeah. Everything's popping all the time. And the northern part of California is still very much its own thing. And it's still so rural and quiet that a lot of people even see some of my videos sometimes and be just absolutely floored when I tell them that I live in California because they're like, what? No, that must be like some little fake little island of California. No, it's not. In fact, that's what most of California fucking looks like. Yeah. Is just trees and quiet and open space. So
when I first saw your content, I literally was like, I have a hunch he's in California. I don't know why, but I just feel like at first I was like, is he in Big Bear?
Oh yeah,
that's what I thought at first.
So Big Bear is like your guys' little oasis, right? Like that's kind of so I have never been to Big Bear. I have been to Lake Arrowhead once. Okay. Similar. I think it's similar kind of area. And I got this vibe that like everybody in Southern California was sort of treating it as their escape.
It is kind
of. So you still feel like you're in Southern California from a social perspective, but it's beautiful. Yeah. So if someone could just imagine who's listening now, if they're from Southern California, imagine Big Bear or Arrowhead, but imagine it with no humans. And that's what it looks like where I live. Yeah, so you can kind of see that.
I love NorCal. I don't know. Is like Big Pine?
Yeah, that's up there. That's up there, yeah.
Because I go up and like camp, and I don't know if I camp in Alabama Hills
there's a couple like, long pines, but yeah, I know one
pine, like
that's
by Mount Whitney.
Oh, you're like up
right
there,
like,
yeah.
Alabama Hills, like really rural. Like I camp out there a lot, and it's like, super cool. But I'm like, is that like Central?
No, that's, I mean,
it's like NorCal.
It depends on who you ask. If like you ask someone who lives like close to the Oregon border, they're going to say, oh, to them it's south. Yeah. But look, if you live in Fresno, where I live is Northern California. So I guess it's not, I think Northern California is less of a geographical distinction than it is a social distinction.
That's true.
I think there's a vibe that you catch the second you get north of Fresno where it starts to just shift. Yeah. It's a different feel. It's a different air. It's a little bit of a different culture, different just grouping of the types of people and interests that things and people do. So, I mean, I love Southern California. I think a lot of people get the disconnect and think that like I'm dogging on the city or that I don't love and it's just not convenient to the life that I've been living lately. Yeah. To come to the city, I haven't had a reason. This wasn't a great excuse, but I enjoy the culture, the food, the things I can't get, the music scene. I mean, all this stuff is just the beach. I mean, there's 100 reasons to be here.
Exactly.
Just not professional reasons for me. So lately it's been, I mean, that excuse was actually not a great thing for my mental processing to step away from that for that long from the bustle, like the hustle and bustle of everything has been helpful for me to kind of come back and like get regenerated and energized by the feeling of being around people and life and the pulse. So it's been sick. It's been sick just being it's been 6 hours I've been here, so
Yeah, exactly.
it's hard to say that, but it felt like right when I came over the grapevine and dropped in, and I could just feel the energy like emanating off of the city. It did feel kind of good.
It's so different.
Yeah, it felt kind of good.
I feel like opposite. Like I'm like I love to go like somewhere rural because I'm like, oh, I finally have peace.
Time to breathe.
Like exactly. I'm like I have cell service for 3 days. Like I'm just gonna like decompress for a little bit.
The decompression alone, it helps a lot of people to force perspective into what's important for people who are constantly in the mix. I feel people who have been decompressing for a long time though, it's just an adaptation response emotionally. So if you've been decompressing for multiple years, if you were born and raised in a rural environment, you just find new shit to stress about. That's what we are as humans. You just find a problem.
Yeah. It's
literally what our synapses, is what our neurons do, is like if there's no stimulus, it creates its own stimulus.
Exactly.
So if you don't, and it's literally science there, so if you just go one step removed from that and think, well, if we don't have problems as people, we just create problems. We create our own problems.
That's true.
And you just build up on them, and if everything's good, you'll find something else to find that stresses you out. So you see it all the time with people who have been chasing money their whole life, and then they stumble on money.
Yeah.
And now you have a new stressor, whatever it is. So I just try to set that in, and I will say I do have an advantage on most influencers, on most people in this fitness space. I have a leg up on them because I spend so much quiet time not taking things in, whether it's media. And I don't mean that in a, like, look, it's kind of a privilege. I mean, I bear all the benefits of the privilege of not having to stress about media because it doesn't directly affect me.
Yeah.
So I do understand that's coming from a privileged standpoint, but I just have made a conscious decision that on days where I feel overwhelmed, I don't listen to music. Straight up, don't listen to music if it has words. I don't pick up a screen. I don't listen to a podcast. I don't take in any visual media until I've gotten to a place where I've had time to process my own concerns. Because as soon as you start taking stuff in, you're not really able to quietly process the own shit you're dealing with, because it's just that constant stimulus. Even if it's your favorite rap song, it's words. And those words are things you're processing and listening to and thinking about the meaning of the song. So it's like, if you can kind of quiet that to a dull roar for just an hour or two a day, then you win. You start winning, because you're like, dude, I have this great message I want to post today. People are like, man, these captions all the time. You have a new caption every day that's like this insightful, and it's all common sense stuff, but it's just stuff I actually giving myself time to think about.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people are just taking in so much.
Yeah.
Taking in, they can't really process anything.
I told one of my friends, like, basically, she was really stressed out, and I was just like, you need to take some time to actually like sit in your feelings, because most people create so many distractions because you don't want to like sit with your feelings and like actually like allow yourself to feel. Like I feel like so many people don't allow themselves to feel
at all.
And I just was like, you just need to feel what you're feeling. Stop looking at your phone. Stop trying to watch TV. Stop trying to do whatever to distract yourself. Just sit and feel.
I mean, it's not only good advice. I think it's advice we could take ourselves, but like you could really apply that to the world of anxiety and depression. And this is not, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but what I found that helps people when I'm giving them advice to deal with their anxieties is, instead of telling people what's going to solve their anxiety, I think one of the most important first steps is to think about where the hell it's coming from.
Yeah.
Like, what have you sat and felt the anxiety, or have you constantly been trying to feel how to solve it? What's the answer to fixing and stitching and putting a Band-Aid over the anxiety and figuring out how to feel better today?
Exactly.
Or have you sat and been like, hey, what is this coming from? What's causing all this anxiety? Is it a lack of meaning? Is it a lack of, just purpose that you're lacking in life? And maybe you need to feel that instead of solving it. So yeah, I think that quiet has helped me a ton, for sure.
So changing the subject a little bit, how did you get interested in fitness and did you play like any sports as a kid? Or?
Yeah, I haven't really. It's been such like a blur that I haven't really analyzed it too much. Where I grew up, people know this, so I don't want to like beat the dead horse here.
Yeah.
Rural, small town, not even a town where I lived, but drove to a town to go to school and stuff. Those communities don't have, not only do they not really have a fitness presence all across America, whether it's middle America or rural America or blue collar side of the world, is not really interested, or at least bolstered up the idea of fitness being like an official career path.
Yeah.
Or being like a real tangible thing to do with your life.
I feel like it still isn't in a lot of places.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like, it's almost like the white ghost of like, hey, I want to be an actor. I want to be a Hollywood actor. I want to make it big as a rapper, and you're from a community like that. It's not much different to say, I want to be a fitness personality. I want to be professional in the space of fitness. So I didn't even see it as a possibility.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it as a possibility, but I did find love for it when I was playing sports. So I played soccer, which is crazy because that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Whereas in a hyper masculine environment to play soccer instead of football, even though I was built to do both.
Yeah.
But as a cisgendered heterosexual white male playing soccer, it was like, dude, in those environments, it's like, why aren't you a football player? Like, what are you doing? And I was built to do either. So anyway, long story short, I found a lot of love for competition, but didn't find a lot of love for team sports.
I'm the same way. I can't stand team sports. I'm very much alone.
Yeah, I think this space kind of brings a lot of people together that are like that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the concept of bringing people together that don't like being together, but you know what I mean by that. So in that early phases of figuring myself out and learning the process, killed it at soccer. Certainly could have played Division I soccer. I would not have been a professional soccer player by any means, but I definitely had my shot at that. Played all the other typical sports, baseball, wrestling, all that stuff. But kept finding this disconnect, which was, even no matter how good I was at the sport, it wasn't really accomplishing whatever inside was sort of driving that need for activity. So I found my love with activity through things like adventuring through rivers and going and fishing or jumping off rocks with my friends, and all through the the areas of the Sierra Nevada mountains over by Yosemite. That's what we did as kids. And when I did stuff like that, that brought me peace. That brought me the sensation of like really expressing myself. Yeah. So when I found fitness, which was like late high school, we didn't have a gym at the school yet. And one of my mentors said, look, I'll write it off as, credit, high school credit, whatever, if you can start getting donations for equipment and we can just dedicate one of the classroom buildings to a gym, and we'll gut it and just put workout equipment in there. Cool. So it wasn't the world's sickest gym, but it was dumbbells. It was a squat rack. It was like all the shit you need in high school to learn. And then that's where it was like clicked. And it was like, something's happening in here where I'm just falling in love with this process. So once again, I didn't think it was a viable option for a job or a career. But when I was done with high school and I thought I was going to get into wildland fire first, like all my friends did, or even maybe military was, kind of bouncing around in my head because I did well on the ASVAB. The Air Force looked like a possibility. And my mom just asked me, hey, please just give college a year. Yeah. Give it a year. I know you can do okay in college. I didn't think I had the intelligence for it, but she was like, no, you'll be fine, but just give it a year. Give it a shot. And since I was going to do it, I'm like, I might as well do it with something I'm interested in. Yeah. So I did physio, or it was health and exercise science at the time is what it was labeled at my college, but went straight to a 4-year. First couple years were rough, but they weren't rough because I was struggling with the educational side. They were rough because of social decisions I was making. Yeah. Unhealthy relationship, that kind of stuff was sort of the driving force behind not giving it my all. Yeah. And then once I sort of processed took me about 2.5 years to just get through that first like year and a half's worth of credits. And then when I took my first physiology class, it was like snowball. Like, all of a sudden it was amazing. Like, oh shit, yeah, I love this. Not only do I love this, I'm good at it. Yeah. And then from there on out, it was like I got skyrocketed through an education, and then it just clicked for me. So yeah, that was kind of the process. I know it's a process of how you. Yeah, it's a long way around, but that blue collar route, that like the rural route of like what started it, is still also a part of my serious identity. I mean, I can't iron out or tease out the fact that that's where my roots are. That's what I came from. So that's where I'm finding my niche now in the fitness space. Is you don't. Like the fitness space has been so corporate and like shined up and glossy. 100%. Yeah, that you see like this kind of processed feel to all the pictures, to all the influencers and stuff. And it's like, dude, look, I am a bodybuilder or a fitness model or whatever because I deem it so. Yeah. It's not because someone came along and said, hey, once you hit this many followers, once you get this much money, you're considered an official fitness model. And I apologize for so long. Yeah. To my friends, to my family, to the people around me, where it's like, look, I'm just doing this as a side gig. Yeah. Like, I really am a strength and conditioning coach for university. I promise this is real. I have a real job. And then it started to get to the point where it got serious on its own. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up one day, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I could tell people that I'm a fitness model. If I say I'm a fitness model, then it is what it is.
Exactly. You're trying
Soak
to play
it
it
up.
down for a while.
Yeah, I was. And I see people do that now sometimes where they like apologize ahead of time before they tell you what they do. Where they're like, oh, well, even a kid who's like maybe trying to come up and make it in like rapping. And he's like, well, you know, I really do like doing this, but it's just a hobby. Or it's just, I'm like, don't apologize for something that makes you you. Just do it and tell people what you are. So when I started like stomping my foot and saying, this is what I am, people just took it for what it was. And I was like, oh, that was easy.
Just be unapologetically yourself and people will take you.
Just for what you said.
For what you
just
say, exactly.
Assume that you are what you are, yeah.
Exactly, and you'll become what you want to be.
That's another side of it where it's like pretty underrated that you do become the words that you say every day.
Exactly.
Or at least the thoughts that you create in your head every day. And if you keep apologizing for wanting to be a painter, wanting to be an artist, wanting to be, you know, whatever it is, a fitness model, if you keep apologizing for it all the time, you're going to treat that professional endeavor like an apology.
Exactly.
And you're going to keep like tiptoeing into it and being like, apologizing, I'm not as good as so-and-so, or I'm not as big as so-and-so, but it's like you're killing yourself and you keep doing that.
Yeah,
so.
Your subconscious is going to work against you instead of for you if you keep saying those words. Because everything you say, your brain, or at least this is how I kind of like see things, is like your brain doesn't know that the words you're saying are a joke. It's just going to process everything as truth.
You become what you think, for sure.
Exactly. If you say all these negative things about yourself, you're going to become all those negative things. If you're saying positive affirmations to yourself, you're going to become those positive things.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like, people know this who already follow me, but for people who don't know who I am, I don't err on the side of like this dramatic representation of like, you got to be motivated, you got to go to war every day with yourself and win that battle against the alarm clock, all these like cheesy, like sort of like pre-processed, pre-packaged concepts. I don't like those things. Those things don't get me going. Passion gets me going. But I will say, for whatever reason, that although I'm not a big fan of the esoteric thoughts like that, that when I did start telling myself that I was what I believed I could be, and I stopped apologizing, things started manifesting much quicker. But I don't think it's by some weird, like, divine design that this stuff started to unfold. I just think it's because as soon as I stopped apologizing for it, I started putting forth more effort into it, because I didn't want to tell people, I didn't want to tell myself that I'm going to be a fitness model and then be a half-assed one.
Exactly.
If this is what I am, then let me be a fucking good one.
Exactly.
So I think just when I made that shift, it just clicked for me. And that was the end of that. And now things are, I mean, you guys found me. Here I am in LA. Yeah, here I'm in LA, drive one day and go back home and do the same thing. So it doesn't matter where you're from or what you're doing. I just think a lot of people become their environment, and that's a real thing, an adaptation, but also, I mean, in a social way, where if they're not living in Hollywood, or they're not living where they think the epicenter of whatever they want to do should be, then they believe in their head that they're not an official enough version of it. Yeah. But it's 2021, bro. Exactly. Like, you could do this shit from anywhere. And I'm living, breathing proof of the fact that I don't want to live in Hollywood. Yeah. I'm sorry, it doesn't match up with, you know, just who I am and my DNA. So if I can't fit my life and my enjoyments and my loves and my passions into that space, I ain't gonna force it. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just give up on all the stuff that I love too. Exactly. So you gotta find that niche for you. Find that range where it's like that Venn diagram of like what you love and on a professional level, but what you need on a personal level, and find where you can find an area or a place where they cross over in the middle. Exactly. And that's what I did. Where it was like, I'm rural as shit, but the internet helps. Exactly. It gets me to.
You have the internet, and that's. You can do that from anywhere.
Yeah, people who live all over the country are seeing it. So, yeah, that was sort of the long way of just beginning to end, or not end. I'm not dying tomorrow, but beginning to today of the process for sure.
Going back to being like the lone wolf, I guess. So, do you like working out alone?
Ooh, shoot! I don't think I've ever been asked that question. It's a tough battle because, look, I was formerly a strength and conditioning coach for, you know, the NCAA on a Division I level. So I know scientifically that the value of working out with somebody from a tissue perspective is highly beneficial. Really? So anybody out there who's working out with somebody, you're not going to be able to get forced reps without a partner. You're not going to be able to safely get into those high threshold units that you wouldn't access if you work out alone. Because if you work out alone, let's say I get 4 reps on the bench press and the 4th one was my max. Yeah. I've still got a lot left in the tank. But the problem is you can't access eccentrically loading a bar or eccentrically loading movements because you're 30% stronger in the negative
Mm-hmm.
So if you're 30% stronger in the negative but can't get a positive rep, you're pinned and dying underneath the bar.
That's true.
Or getting injured or whatever. So if you have a partner, they can help you get 3 more reps, which I guess out of 10 would literally be 30%. So
exactly.
in a lot of these situations, a partner is crazy beneficial. Now, where a partner is not beneficial is that even, I don't give a fuck if it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't give a fuck if your partner is the best in the world.
Yeah.
When you take them on as your workout partner, you're taking on their variability, their problems,
That's very true.
their schedule, their chances of bailing.
Are they
their
going to go on their phone
relationships.
half the workout? Like,
Do they need to go change their playlist mid-set?
Yeah.
Are you going to talk a little bit about the day? Or are you going to, and look, I don't care how good the workout partner is. That is a variable I'm not willing to risk.
Yeah.
Because if you put, and I tell this to people who I help on a daily basis, if you put somebody else's variability in the way of you and killing that workout,
Mhm.
and there's any chance that, look, I'll be honest, there's not a chance I'm going to miss my workout.
Yeah.
If it rains, snows,
Yeah.
sleet, doesn't matter. I will jog my ass 7 miles to get to my gym if that's what I need that day.
Yeah.
But if you're the type of person who's still trying to hit your groove, I actually think finding a workout partner is one of the scariest decisions people can make. Because
Yeah.
if all it takes for some people is like a little traffic to be like, oh,
They're like, I don't want to.
I don't know,
If you
maybe
have
it's
the-
not meant to be today.
Exactly. If you have the extra accountability, if you're not as disciplined, then it's good.
Yeah,
But like, I can't work out with a partner.
no,
I see like my workouts, like my lifts, especially, is like my sacred time. Like it is for me and me only. I have my music or my podcast, or sometimes just nothing if I need
To
like,
zone out.
to just zone out and just like do the work. But I see that as like my time that no one else like can bombard into or
Yeah.
like interrupt. And it's a little bit harder when I know, like, you know, have too many friends at the gym, or I'm friends with all the trainers and everyone
Ooh,
wants
it's
to
almost
talk
time to
to
move.
me.
It's almost time to fucking move gyms.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
It's like, these people are getting a little cozy with me.
Yeah, I can't get like a set in without someone talking
Yeah,
to me
someone
or
wanted
like
to ask
saying
you how
hi.
it's going, or I saw that post the other day. That was awesome. Yeah, even
Exactly.
and people mean well. Like,
They
look,
do,
I love
yeah.
this. The sense of community is great, and it's worked. I mean, shit, CrossFit is built on
Yeah.
the foundations of the fact that community can bring people into the gym.
Mhm.
But what community can't do is it can't respect the fact that you need to get that next set done
Exactly.
because it's important to you and your
Mhm.
momentum in the workout. And there's
Exactly.
times where I've had to, and it's one of the most frustrating things in the world, but there's times where you have to like literally look back on the whole workout and be like, fuck, dude, I've taken like 3 or 4 sets where I'm like texting somebody because I got something important going on that day.
Exactly.
And there was a time, believe it or not, to everybody listening, there was a time where we just accepted the crazy variability of the idea that there's going to be something you could miss out on during your workout and you might not know.
Yeah.
Or there could be like you go into dinner and you don't have service. Like where I live, you don't get service in most places.
Yeah.
I don't get service.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but if an emergency unfolds and I'm not Superman, I'm not going to be able to just fly straight to you and solve the problem anyway. Some of us have to relinquish the control over the world around us and just be like, look, this phone is on this playlist. It's a 3-hour-long playlist. I know it ain't going to run out in this workout.
Yeah.
Turn that motherfucker to a place where you can't access it
Exactly.
and you have a way to stay away from it, because that
Yeah.
input literally downregulates your nervous system.
Mhm.
And it's going to tell you to start thinking about something else.
Mhm.
Like maybe internalizing other people's problems
Yeah.
or somebody else's concern. And look, we love people hard. I mean, all of us really are in a position where we really want to make sure that mom's good, your best friend and her relationship, everything's okay with her or whatever. So if someone
Yeah.
steps in and interrupts your thought process or your workout, we're all too good at people, most of us, to turn down.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah, it's hard.
I started putting my phone on Do Not Disturb during workouts.
Ooh, smart.
Because I actually went basically through a breakup, or the breakup started while I was at the gym,
Oh no.
and it ruined my workout. And
Of
then
course,
after that,
it might
I was
ruin
like,
3.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
was
a lot
like,
of emotion
oh
to
my
process.
gosh. So then after that, I was like, you know, before cell phones, I wouldn't have even known about anything that's going
Nope.
on
Or maybe this conversation would have started face to face.
face to face.
So then we
Exactly.
could have handled it some
And
other way.
I could have handled it later, and it wouldn't have ruined my workout. And because I can't put all the effort in anymore. I have too much emotion.
Yep.
I can't focus, and so now it's just my boss doesn't need to like text me during my
Yep.
workout, or like 'cause I work out really early in the morning, so sometimes I would get at my old job like text at like 4 a.m. from a boss to do something, and I'm like, my phone is on Do Not Disturb my workout. I work out 5 a.m. I'm like, I don't need to answer you right now.
Yeah.
I don't need any significant other, anyone, my parents, like nothing, everything
Can wait.
can wait like 1 hour.
Yeah.
Nothing is that important.
No.
Like there is absolutely nothing that is that important.
No, and it's like unfortunate that we've gotten to this space where it's like the technology, and technology is wonderful. I mean, I'm not trying to be Ted Kaczynski over here, the Unabomber, telling people that it's gonna be the end of everything. But it is tough right now because we're in this interesting space where technology has creeped so deeply into our DNA that we can't really separate from what is realistically going to happen in a situation and what we think is going to happen. And what we always think is going to happen is that if we put down that phone, something crazy important is going to happen and we're going to miss it, or we're not going to be there. And then our natural anxiety is to over dramatize the worst case scenario. And then you're like, shit, dude, what if so-and-so just called me now? What if they, but to be completely honest with you, it never happens.
When was the last time that happened?
It never happens. No, it never happens. And even if it did happen, there's something to be said about being a little selfish. And I think a lot of people right now, especially in society, are trying to figure out how to fill their cup back up because they've been trying to, sort of pour out of an empty cup for so long.
Yeah.
They find themselves in these positions. And it's usually where we see people try to make life transformations. The before and after pictures are usually coming because something dramatic happened in life and they want to make an improvement. They want to see their life get a little better. They want to see their love life get better, their respect for themselves get better. But the truth is like, what I'm trying to get at is just, we're in this situation now where a lot of people have to apologize for being selfish.
Yeah.
But if you just are a little bit selfish for the parts of your day that make you whole, then at least you're going to be a better version of yourself for girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, kids, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, you got to put yourself first so that those people around you are going to get the best fucking version of you.
Exactly.
Because if you keep showing up as like Mr. Fatigue or Mrs. Uninspired, then those people around you they're not getting much from you anyway.
Or they're not getting your full attention because you're thinking of about a million other things. Yeah. But to be selfish also means to set boundaries, which is something I've read a lot on your Instagram captions and stuff like that about relationship advice and boundary setting, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where it shifted for me, but I'm interestingly enough, they like to label things as extrovert, introvert all the time, as black or white.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I'll start this conversation, is to start talking about maybe where it shifted for me to learn, maybe not to put myself as importantly as labeling an extrovert or introvert, but learning what fuels me, what works for me, and what allows me to keep showing up as the best version of myself instead of feeling like I need to show up and impress a large group of people or be the best version of myself for a lot of people, which is just completely unrealistic. And I found myself I think just trying to make sure that as I was socially engaging with all of these different people in my life, and as you know, when you get out of college, your master's degree and stuff, that's where the circle gets a little bigger than you can manage for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When you finish college, you just really expanded your social circle to a place where now you have your high school friends, you have your college friends, you have your hometown, you have your new places you want to go. Then you're meeting people now on whether it's a relationship level or you're meeting new people, their family, maybe if you start a relationship.
Exactly.
The circle gets huge.
It does.
It gets huge. And then you get to this space where I think a lot of people are still stuck between ages maybe 25 to maybe 35. There's a lot of people in that age range, maybe even late 30s, where their circle got so big that now they're just trying to, okay, well, we got to check this person off the list. We got to go see your family. And then we got to go to this nightclub because that's where this friend invited us. What if we missed that birthday party? And then the circle starts getting so big that people start becoming these really thin layers of themselves everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And as a man myself who socially, when I interact with people, I'm very intense. And I'm extremely, although I'm patient and I like to have real conversation and not overwhelm situations. I mean, look, whether you believe in horoscopes or not, I'm what would be considered a Leo. So even I was born in August, but even if people don't believe in that, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I believe in horoscopes, but that's the type. I'm kind of just when I get in environments, I'm passionate, I'm intense, I love my friends, my family, my people, but I always have to feel like I take control over a situation.
Yeah.
And having a large group started to really impact me in that way because I kept feeling like I was showing up as like this distant version of myself.
Almost a shell of yourself.
Yeah.
And when you have a circle that big, relationships are far less meaningful.
Weaker.
Exactly. I guess I'm starting this early, being young, but I'm just kind of like not cutting people off, but like people not giving them my time or energy anymore that aren't important to me. Like really narrowing down my circle to the actual important relationships in my life, the important people in my life, rather than just like calling every acquaintance a friend.
Yeah.
Or like just hanging out with people just to hang out. But if they're not bringing value to me, not in like a selfish way.
No.
But just bringing value to my life, and like it doesn't have to be they're actually giving me something, but just like making me feel good.
Yeah. And
like my energy is feeling good and my energy feeds off of theirs and vice versa. That's like when a relationship is meaningful. That's when I want to keep it in my life.
Well, that's an important lesson to learn because I think as I expressed before, but as being that type of guy for so long of needing to be so intense with the people I interacted with, I found that I was forcing a lot of these small time engagements with people or these small time interactions with people as me needing to be that version of myself everywhere I went.
Yeah.
Instead of like, dude, I don't need to lose sleep over the fact that someone invited me to the bar one night.
Exactly.
And then be sitting in bed the whole time like, whoa, man.
Like having FOMO.
Yeah, if I say no to, or I was the inverse side where I was scared to say no.
Okay.
Because I felt like when I go, or if I say no or whatever, it's going to somehow weaken that relationship over time because I didn't show up. And while statistically, I guess that makes sense if you're not hanging out with that person a lot, it does start to weaken a little bit. It doesn't mean I need to keep showing up as like a quarter version of myself that's stressed. Because if I need to wake up at 8 tomorrow just to feel like I'm productive, and I don't want to sleep in on a Sunday until, I wake up at like 4 a.m. to be honest. But if I don't want to sleep in until a Sunday with a hangover until 3 p.m., that's fine. That's what it's not going to work for me. Then I need to make sure I'm honoring myself so that the next time I say yes, I show up through that door as Thoren. Not show up through that door as like, hey, that's like half of him. He's like kind of here, kind of not.
Exactly.
Kind of answering his phone.
Like
kind of dabbling here and there.
Half-ass in the relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think friends that are good friends, at least, or in my opinion, are going to respect the fact that you can say no, and they're going to respect that you are wanting to better yourself or like be productive one day. They're not going to be mad at you and not want to be your friend for not showing up to one thing. I
don't even think that's questionable in any way, because I think if you do express those things and that it's important to you to just get a night's sleep tonight.
Exactly.
Or dude, like that's the other thing is like how many of us are reaching for a good enough reason to miss something? Yeah. Like what's my reason?
To come up with some
like, bro,
reason.
Stop doing that. Just fucking tell them like, hey, today's not the day. I'm not feeling it. My anxiety's a little off. I'm not feeling there. I just wanted to really watch Netflix and I was looking forward to sitting on the couch. People feel like that's going to offend the other person because it's not, your grandma didn't die, so that's not a big enough. It's like, no, man, just tell people. It's okay.
Exactly. Usually people feel you. They're like, oh yeah, dude, I feel you. Like some nights I just want to chill.
Dude,
like,
I've said it before to one of my buddies, and he responded back like with a crying, laughing face, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the same thing. And it's like, you never know how many times we're forcing each other into these situations or forced social interactions because we think it's what you're supposed to do at that specific point in time. So I still have a lot to learn about that because I'm the first person to burn myself at the candle at both ends now and really push myself beyond my means. But I'm just getting to a point now where socially I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. Professionally, I can't afford it. Yeah. Socially, I can't afford it. I can't keep being the brightest, sharpest version of myself. I keep spreading it that thin. So not enough butter on the bread if I keep doing that. So now it's like, it's time to be more potent in the environments that I decide to show up in.
Exactly.
And it's working. But I think there is an important piece that sort of also makes this something where I'm preaching. I'm saying giving this advice out from like a pedestal, giving this advice out from like a place of like telling people, hey, this is okay to do. It's okay to set these boundaries. Yet I find myself every single day being challenged by that point and by the fact I'm trying to help people do the same because I am now becoming deeply intertwined with my presence on social media. So now it's this interesting space where I've been like this almost renaissance of an event in my life for the last 3 years where I was like setting boundaries, being an individual, sometimes being quiet, hold off as like a lone wolf and just handling my own shit and really making sure to, I don't meditate, but like making sure to do the things that feel like meditation for me, lifting alone, not letting people interrupt it, all that good stuff. To now I'm in this space where the world is sort of creeping back in in a more intense way through social media.
Yeah.
Because I'm no Kardashian by any means, but like my impression on social media is now big enough for it to really creep into my day to day.
Exactly.
I mean, when you have 150 DMs every hour.
Yeah.
There's somewhere in there where something becomes less possible for you to accomplish on social media than it would really be in real life. So we get back to this concept, and I've never read the literature on it, but like from a detailed perspective, but I have read stuff, and I literally think there was a study done on it where there's literally on the edge of, if you can imagine your social circle, who you can physically actually remain close with in an impressionable way it's sized, it's measured. Let's say it's 10 to 15 people. And you go beyond that size, and then the impact of those relationships and impressions become less strong. Well, social media is beautiful because it's increased that. So now the size of it, where realistically you can keep in touch with a certain amount of people, it has increased. But a lot of us are trying to communicate. Some people, from literally a relationship perspective, they're trying to date or whatever online, and that's tough enough because now you're having to process, hey, is this guy the right guy? Is this person? And it's almost like window shopping for a lot of people.
It is.
Window shopping
exactly
relationships, window shopping friendships. Is this someone I want to hang out with in real life? Whereas for me, social media has been a tool. It's been just quite literally a tool to reach people. Or functionally, for me, it's an opportunity to get my point across, to get my message across to a lot of people. But what starts to happen as you get a stronger presence is, of course, now people want from you.
And you get this parasocial relationship where people think they know you, but they don't actually know you. They just know who you are on social media. You're seeing things, but you don't actually see anything behind it. You don't know how they're actually doing. You don't know their personality. You don't know anything, but you think you know them.
And you think you have an idea because you've made it up in your head of what it's going to be like.
Exactly. Or
it's almost as simple as like when you see the trailer to a movie and you're like, oh, I already know what that movie is going to be 100% like. And of course, a good trailer is going to give you some insight, but the problem is like social media is also self-motivated and self-promoted within your ego to make sure you're showing the highlights, which I know that's oversaturated. We don't need to talk about how social media is just a highlight reel. That's not what I'm getting at. But what I'm getting at is that then you become what you start to become what you think the algorithm needs to see. You start to become what you think those people want to see from you. And where that gets dangerous, and it's gotten dangerous for me in the past, is like, if something performs really well, what do? Do it again.
Of course.
If something performs, if you take a booty pic and you turn just the right way in the mirror and you were wearing the right colors, you had the right tan, the mirror lighting was the right way. We try to recreate that and we're like, ooh, I'm doing that picture again in the future because it did really well. What you forgot is the very first time you did it, it came from a place of an organic, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm inciting into. And I think a lot of people, they lose steam with their life because they start pigeonholing a lot of their thought processes into what these algorithms, people call them algos, what these algorithms have started to shape us to tell us what to be. And I find that to be crazy self-damaging because if I watch the performance of something, I may want to recreate it again instead of staying inside the lane that allowed me to just express what I did that day.
Exactly.
So that gets into the whole woodcutting thing, right?
That is exactly where I was going to go with that. Because that is something that is performing well, that you have recreated, but it's also part of your day-to-day and something that you would already be doing otherwise.
For sure.
So I think it's more organic in that way, that you're not just doing it because it gets a ton of views, but you went viral with that. Is that like kind of how?
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I didn't even know what a BuzzFeed was.
Oh my gosh.
Someone texted me and was like, hey, bro, you're on BuzzFeed right now. It was my barber. And I was like, what the fuck is a BuzzFeed? I was like, I don't even know what that is. I didn't know what a BuzzFeed was. Well, I thought it was like an app or something. I didn't know what it was. Then sure enough, I did a little digging, and I still don't really, I haven't conceptualized what it is. I just gave him permission. Dude, I don't care. Post whatever the fuck you want.
BuzzFeed's basically like a media company, like news, and like, you can just see like little stories. They take stuff from social media, they make a story out of it.
So it's sort of like a
news platform almost.
Poppy sort of, just like
pop
keeping
culture,
people plugged into pop culture. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense of why they would do that, because the video they posted was like hot viral, like something that I was actually having a hard time managing the influx of new people and stuff with. But It's important that I give this message out to a lot of people out there, because what happened is a year ago, it's been a year and a half, when I originally downloaded TikTok, I posted a woodcutting video, and maybe 2,000 people liked it, because it was fresh. Not a lot of people had like understood what it was. 2-3 videos in, it starts to slowly climb. It wasn't like overnight I just got
viral.
big because I chopped wood one time.
Yeah.
But you know what fucking happened after that first one went big? I started noticing people were going out like buying wood. There was guys who lived in clearly a cul-de-sac surrounded by like a fence where I know you're not burning wood. Where they're cutting wood in their yard. And dude, by all means, if you're getting excited, get excited, do your thing. But here's the problem. You're not going to go big off what I did. Yeah. Because you're not doing it from a place of organic, this is who I am perspective. If tomorrow, I promise everybody listening, if tomorrow when I get back home, I got to do like the trim around the walkway that goes into my house. Okay. And I've got to get the pine, because wood's super expensive right now. I get the wood just from around the area, and I live down the street, it's a road, not a street. Yeah. I live down the road, walking distance from a mill. So I can take like a bar of pine or cedar, take it in there, they'll mill it for me, and then I can cut it to size and then put it in as my trim. Yeah. If I want to show that process instead,
you can.
I can. Organic. And guess what? It's going to fucking blow up, because it's part of my real life. And people are like, damn, this is unique. This guy just took this tree and turned this unhealthy tree, just for the record, so everybody hears that. But this unhealthy tree, took it in, got it milled, and used it as a real world application. And people are going to resonate with whatever the fuck I'm doing. Yeah,
they're going to like it, because people can smell bullshit from a mile away. They're going to know if it's fake.
Yeah, and people do that. People will be like, oh man, you're the wood guy. I remember
the wood guy.
I went down to Old Town San Diego not that long ago. Which, you want to talk about a drive, that's like an extra 3 hours. But I was in Old Town San Diego there visiting a friend who used to live out here. And is now on the East Coast, but she came back to visit, and I was like, look, if you're going to come that far, I might as well try to make it. So I made it all the way down to Old Town San Diego, and I got a lot of messages on TikTok. A lot of people were like, hey, I heard that you were in Old Town San Diego. Was that you? Or I saw you walking with a group of people. Do you really come to the city? And it's like, okay, here's the thing. I am the woodcutting guy to the people who found me that way, but I will continue to be whatever the fuck Thoren wants to be. Yeah. I got big cutting wood because I imposed that onto the internet, not because the internet told Thoren to start cutting wood. Yeah. That's why I was successful. Yeah. And that's why the next endeavor that I want to impose upon the world, because I've got a lot of aspects of my life nobody knows about, skills, interests. If I make a decision tomorrow to expose one of those, I can fucking guarantee you the result will be the exact same, because of the seed that it's being planted from.
I always say I reserve the right to be whoever the fuck I want to be.
Yeah.
Today, tomorrow, in 2 minutes, whenever.
Change my mind?
I can always change my mind. You might know me as someone like on social media. I'm a female bodybuilder. Yeah. But I also reserve the right to never do bodybuilding again and do whatever the hell I want going forward.
That's a super important, and that's a distinction to make that allows you to continue to change.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, so it's important because you're saying, well, if I don't want to do bodybuilding anymore, I'm not going to do bodybuilding anymore. But I think if we revisit that for a second, how many people in this world are seeing other people find success first? Seeing them, holding them up on this pedestal and saying, dude, look, I'll just use myself as an example where a young man maybe in his mid-20s sees me and goes, he got big because he was chopping wood, taking his shirt off sometimes, and also into fitness. Somebody, I promise you right now, is trying to use that connection to make it work for themselves, and they're missing the point. And it's okay if my wood chopping gets a young man or a young girl or even maybe a kid in his teens interested in doing laborious stuff. Yeah, that's great. But I'm sorry, man, if you live in Anaheim or you live in the suburbs somewhere and you don't genuinely need to heat your home cutting wood, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, that ain't your life. Exactly. That's not your real world life. Yeah. And so now you're creating this very unsustainable lifestyle, but it doesn't need to just be about wood cutting. You can apply it like you did to bodybuilding. You can apply it like anyone else would to fitness modeling. But I promise if a girl gets really deep into booty building workout programs and starts really pushing it and killing it, and she starts losing that spark or fire about expressing that,
people are over it.
they're over it because you're over it.
Exactly.
They're over you because you're over you.
Yeah.
But there's so many bits and pieces to you that still have passions and interests, and you can find a new passion and a new interest. You could literally, and people will tell you, well, that's not what your page is about, so it ain't going to perform well on your page. No, I promise you.
Yeah.
People are going to resonate with whatever the fuck you're passionate about. So if you get super excited and interested into the next thing, you really want to become a table maker, you're really into pottery and you haven't been sharing that with people, or you want to get into pottery, and it's a 3 or 4 year endeavor that you give up on again, just share the journey.
Exactly.
Like start expressing all of that interesting stuff that you want to do, because people just resonate. They want to learn people.
Exactly.
They want to learn things. They want to learn processes. They don't give a fuck. There are so many people who live in a Manhattan high rise, or so many people who follow me who maybe live right in the heart of San Francisco and haven't even ever had a fire in their life.
Exactly.
When they watch the videos, they see a man
like,
doing what he does.
Yeah.
Or see a girl doing what she's good at. And that is what people are resonating with.
Exactly.
So we just got to get outside of that mindset that the algorithm is deciding how we start to live our life based on what we think the world wants to know about us.
Exactly. I think if you never cut wood again, you would still be performing very well because of like your honesty and your organic and you're not fake. There's no bullshit. People are not smelling any bullshit, and like everything you say, like all your captions, everything is like very truthful. Like you're being authentically yourself and honest. And I think that's why even if you were to never ever do a woodcutting video again, you'd still be doing really well.
Well, that's a huge compliment. So thank you, one. And two, it is a perfect segue into this podcast, because I remember when like you plan anything, when we were talking about me coming down, it's been only like a week that we've been talking about this, which is cool. And now it's here, now it's happening. But when we started talking about it, we started the conversation with, okay, what do we want to talk about? Which conversation do we want to steer it in? And you're like, I can give you some bullet points. So you did send me some bullet points. And at first, because my sense of control and need for things to perform well, even me, like who can talk for hours, clearly. But I could talk and talk and talk with people. But even me, I'm like, I want to control it to make sure it goes perfectly for her. I want Gainz Box to get the best version of me. And then I remembered for a second, I'm like, dude, it's whatever I am is who I'm going to be. And the best way to express that is to just take it a day at a time, a conversation at a time, a topic at a time. So if, as long as I stay true to that for the rest of my like presence on social media, whoever does find me is at least finding me. You know what I mean? At least they're not finding some little makeshift like shelf version of me I created.
Some persona.
Yeah, because that shit ain't sustainable. Yeah. So at least, and that's what served me so well in the social media space. It just like, I kind of, it pisses some people off because of the way it's been successful, but I kind of just say, fuck the importance of whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I
don't really care how serious you're taking your shit. I can call myself a bodybuilder and not be on steroids. I can call myself a fitness model and have never been on the cover of Men's Fitness. Because I'm just saying, I don't give a fuck about your standards or what you think makes it official. The world likes me being me, so watch me fucking do it anyway.
Yeah, so watch me be
without your affirmations. Yeah, so it's pretty dope, or confirmations. It's been pretty dope to see that people are like, look at this guy just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah.
Check him out. He doesn't really give a fuck about what anybody thinks.
Yeah, they like the authenticity.
Yeah, and people have been vibing with it for sure. So it's like, I don't know. Portland Lumberjack meets fitness model has kind of been what it turned into. That's
your mix.
It is my mix, but I can find a niche anywhere in there, and as long as I continue to just do my interests. So
yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Gainz Box, the fittest subscription box. Gainz Box is a quarterly fitness subscription box that has apparel, supplements, and equipment created for the sport of fitness.